So, as you can tell, this one is going to be a little different than any of my other ones. Disclaimer, don't let kids watch this. Do not watch this around your kids because it's real and raw. And I'm probably going to lose it. I just got done with a hour-long crisis. For those of you that don't know, I have a special needs son, and a couple months ago, the facility he was at said that he was so bad that he needed a higher level of care than what they could provide. They tried for 3 months to find said placement, and countless facilities at various levels denied him due to his violence and his aggression. Then COVID hit, and so they had a perfect excuse to discharge him and send him to my home. I'm trying to keep it together. I'm sorry. I want to go into detail of what it's like living with a kid that has the type of needs that my son has. Over the last couple months that he's been home, I have not been able to go to work because it is unsafe to leave him here with my younger kid. My youngest is petrified to be at home alone with him. What people don't see is the physical and verbal abuse that happens. So over the last couple of months, my son's mental state has deteriorated greatly. He has said things like he is an unworldly being. He said things like he can transport his consciousness to another dimension. He has adamantly protested being involved with mental health services. He sort of complied in the beginning, but as this kind of kept going, he got less and less compliant, meaning like in therapy sessions, he would just hang up. Through all this, he goes on these 2-hour long tangents. Sometimes they are in great detail about society and how they have us all brainwashed, and that he is a slave, and that there's so much. I don't even know how to recall it to make you guys understand. In these rants, I am the brunt of the blame. He blames me for him being involved in the services. He blames me because he's delusional. He can't accept that his choices and his decisions have got him to where he's at. He can't accept that because he views things very differently than most people, that he needs help. in his mind, there's nothing wrong with him. It's everybody else. And that includes me. I have been told I'm a piece of shit. I'm a shitty mom. That I don't care. He's told me straight up that he has no love or affection towards any of us whatsoever, and that he never has, and that he's incapable of feeling those things. And he's not wrong. He's never felt those things for us. Sorry, this is going to be kind of pieced together because I'm still dealing with phone calls from the ACT team, which is supposed to be helping. So when he got home this afternoon from day treatment, and I know I'm skipping, and I'm sorry, but there's no way I can fill everybody in 100% of what's going on. But he was in a day treatment. He went one day, and then the half of the second day, they were already calling me because he was just in a rant. I mean, just spewing the most vile, delusional things. And they kind of were like, we don't know what to do. And I mean, one of the people who was on the call when they called me, she has been in and out of his treatments for about 4 years now. And she had told me, you know, that this is the worst that she's seen him in a long time. The problem is that for months now, I have been expressing this to his care team. And I say that sarcastically because these people were only put into our lives because of the fact that the facility could not find placement. And they did not want to send him home with me having no support whatsoever. However, they are providing no support whatsoever. Now, granted, a lot of that's due to COVID, but at the same time, like, I'm spending more time trying to fill them in on the last 15 years of our lives and what's going on since he's been home, that they're kind of coming at me and looking at me like I'm lying, like I'm making all of this up. So when he'd spent a day and a half at this day treatment, and day treatment was even saying it, they finally were kind of like, oh, maybe mom's not crazy. So we finally convinced him through manipulation. I'm not going to lie, I manipulate the fuck out of my son, and that's just because it's the only way to get him to comply with certain things. Through the program changing and trying to give him some feeling of control, they were asking him to come in and give his input on the program and how his input could help the other kids there and the staff, because he just repeatedly keeps repeating that this doesn't work, it's not working, it's not working, it's not helping me. But he also is on a rant about how it's not working because he doesn't need it, because there's nothing wrong with him. It's everybody else that has a problem. There's so much I want to say, and I don't even know how to form the freaking words. So today, he comes home, and immediately goes into a good 30-45 minute rant about how all the things that the day treatment wrote on his pass along, which is a piece of paper that they kind of tell me how he did while he was there, was all a lie, how none of it happened, which he believes that. It's not that he's trying to get out of trouble. It's not that he is trying to lie his way out of stuff. It's that in his mind, it went down way different than what reality really happened. And we've even gone to the extent of video recording him and playing the recording, and he's adamant, that's not me. You photoshopped that. You did something. You doctored it. That's not me. I didn't do that. He still, in his mind, body, and soul, believes it didn't happen the way that it was on video. And he's willing to fight to the death over that. He's willing to fight for that. So he makes a statement that he's not going back. So this would be twice now that he's just decided he's not going back to day treatment. So then I expressed to him that, I can't safely leave him at home by himself or alone with his little brother. And that means that he is going to have to either comply and go to day treatment, or his little brother feels like he's the one being punished or in trouble because he now will have to go to work with us. And that set Con off. It was my fault because I'm a piece of shit mother and I didn't teach him better, and that all of this is just because I can't trust him and I'm delusional that he has a problem and that he can't be here. He refuses to accept that my youngest is petrified of him. So while he's on this tangent, he's very intense, very vulgar, lots of threatening of the things he could and couldn't do, and I should be grateful that he's not stabbing us and he's not attacking us. And it gets to the point that my youngest goes outside, and it's actually pouring rain right now. So I called the ACT team. I called his therapist. And I didn't even really speak to her. I tried to process with him while she was on the phone so she could hear the vile things that comes out of his mouth. And it got so intense and the abuse got so bad, the verbal abuse, that I was like, I need a break. I need a break. So I walk outside and I'm talking to her on the phone. And I basically am like, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with this? And she basically told me that because he wasn't physical, that there wasn't a whole lot they could do. And she kept pressing for me to say that I wanted him out of the home. And I get that a lot with these services. They basically try to make it out like mom can't handle it and that's why he needs to be out of the home. Not that my son is delusional and thinking that he is transporting his body to another dimension, or that, everybody else is wrong, he's right, and that one day we're going to see, none of that, not the fact that he's a danger to himself and to others, none of that matters. It's mom can't handle him. So then she tells me that due to COVID, and because he's not physically hit me yet, that he doesn't meet criteria, that the only thing that she can think of would possibly be therapeutic foster care. Now, in my experience, that's not an option, because we've tried that and none of them would take him because he gets so violent. So I'm like, okay, you obviously sound like you don't believe, or that you don't agree that he needs 24/7 supervision. You sound like you don't agree, that you just think me, that I'm overwhelmed and can't handle it. So I then asked her, I was like, you're the expert here. You're supposed to be helping me. You're supposed to be an expert in your field. You're supposed to have years of experience. So in your expertise, in your experience, what am I supposed to do here? Because you heard the conversation. You just sat here and told me that I handled it absolutely perfectly and correctly. So then what? So now what? And she had nothing. She had nothing. So basically, we're just supposed to sit here and wait until he attacks one of us again. Meanwhile, I am having to deal with hours upon hours of delusional rants, being told that I'm too stupid to understand him, that I'm just a brainwashed piece of crap, that I will never understand him. Being in the home with him is just like being in an abusive relationship, both mentally and physically. But I can't leave. And after months of this, it gets to be too much. I saw an article where this woman adopted a kid and the kid got to be too much and she sent him back, and people just berated her. I mean, just said some of the most nasty things. But I understood. No parent wants to get rid of their kid. No parent wants to have to admit to the realization that their son, daughter, whoever, may not ever be able to make it in the real world. I have been parent shamed by every fucking service I have ever had to deal with. When they can't fix it, or they can't figure out why their techniques or their medication or the therapy, when they can't figure out why that stuff's not working, they blame me. They blame me. I have lost hope that I will ever be able to find the help that my kid needs. I have fought for 15 years. I have lived in fear in my own home. I have lived in fear of him hurting my other children. I have caused so much trauma to my other kids. My kids have so much resentment towards me because I fought so hard for him. And I can't do it anymore. I feel like I have failed. My youngest is traumatized. He's traumatized. And then he's mad at me. And he's mad at his brother. It's very hard to know that your kid is sick. And you try to tell yourself, okay, he's sick and that's why he's saying these things. You're not a bad mom. You're not a piece of shit. You're not dumb. But when you hear it day in and day out, it wears you down. I don't know what to do at this point. He's dangerous. And we have ACT Children's Services and we have day treatment, and they're basically like, you're on your own. And I feel like it's all my decision. On whether he stays here and we continue this or he goes somewhere. But that's a catch-22 also, because he's been in and out of facilities for years and he's not any better. And these facilities are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They can't keep help. I mean, it's the same cycle and the same argument over and over and over again. So is placement really going to help him? No. There isn't an answer. And I don't even know if I'll post this or not, because I can't even put into words what it's like. And I've tried everything. And nothing works. Nothing works. I'm tired of feeling like a shit mom. I'm tired of looking at my youngest and seeing the pain. To my older kids, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything you've had to endure. I'm sorry that I couldn't always protect you. And I'm sorry that I had to neglect you in order to help him. And it wasn't fair to you. I hope that you know that if it was any of y'all in the same position, I would fight just as hard for you. And I'm sorry for any pain or trauma or emotional distress that being in this situation has caused you. It's very hard to admit that you've lost hope. But I've lost hope. I have nowhere to turn. Nobody seems to know how to help me or to help Colin. I know that I didn't explain in detail like I said I was going to, but it's just too much. And I feel like it's one of those things where unless you're there, unless you're in it, you can't understand. And I know that there's things going on in the world right now that are just as serious and just as important. But I can't even feel those things. I can't even process that. I can't even deal with that because I have to live every single day on edge, scared to death, worried, is today going to be the day? I don't know what else to say. I thought that trying to get this on video would maybe make me feel better. But I don't. So all you moms out there with special needs kids, I see you. And I appreciate you. And it's hard. And don't let people mom shame you.